Hi, everybody. It's Carl Schultz here, and I'm going to go over with you this software application that is called Smartsuite. And I recently became an affiliate with them. I'm super grateful for the opportunity. This is what I do. I enjoy going over software and helping you stay informed and making the right decisions. One of the angles that I try to stick with is low cost solutions. So I'm always looking for something like if my income doesn't, for some reason, I can't pay like $50 a month or $100 a month, like I can still continue to have evergreen content, evergreen things running in the background. So I'm always looking for free options. It's because my idea is I want things to carry on after my time here on Earth and to create wealth, I guess you could say. So you can see here on the screen, we're going over Smartsuite. Again, I am an affiliate. If any of you want to contribute to that, I'll leave links in the description. And if you sign up, I'd appreciate it. But this is my first look at Smartsuite. My experience with databases, I'm fairly experienced. I'd say I'm somewhere between intermediate, maybe not advanced, but I can do a lot of formulas and stuff like that. I know how to use Excel. I know how to use Smartsheet. Smartsheet's kind of a similar one, but I know how to use Airtable really well. And there's some other ones. We talked about Softer in another video, and I wish I could remember the name of the other database, but what it is Airtable came on the scene and they made things so much easier. You didn't have the hassles of Microsoft Excel where you would like not be able to have fixed tables throughout your project, and so Airtable came along and it changed my world. And here I am. I've built many databases from inventory management to CRMs, keeping track of the people and friends in my life. I'm no way in shape or form like this, like super. I don't know. What's the word I'm looking for? Like I haven't built huge businesses, but I came from a place where I've had to read a lot of books and learn that ultimately that databases are what you got to focus on in order to grow. And so like what gets measured gets managed. And so I've come a long way for the past few years. Been able to manage, like I said, inventory. And so my attempt here is to hopefully um, get you kind of looking at this in the right direction, and why not only is it like a suite of, or a smart suite has suite in it, but it's a my intention going in here is looking for like the practical use cases of the platform, and I'll be talking about it on various articles when I embed the video. But what we're going to kind of do today is we're just going to go over it. This is really my first time. I went ahead and set and create an account, and I'm going to be going through it just like you, trying to figure out like what's the pros, cons, things that can be improved. I'm not here to be critical. I know what I know, and I just want to show you kind of what I see going into this, and some of the things that will hopefully benefit you as far as integrating it with other things. So this is totally raw. What I find on this could be new to me and change my life as well. So let's go ahead and kind of get into it. So what I did was I'll go back. So good morning, Carl. I guess it's good morning almost. Um, Looks like today's August 17th. So I went ahead and created one for Carl's warehouse. I went ahead and tried to make sure like my email and stuff wasn't on there. Um, okay, so this is your dashboard. This is likely what you're going to see when you go in. All right, already I see a similarity. Um, this is your workspace. So this is where all your databases are going to be. And again, I'm assuming these are databases. We won't know until we go into it. Um, but this is very similar to Airtable. So instead of going, let's take a peek here. So IT work. is so immediately we're going into a grid view. Yeah, this is a database. These all look the same. Chart view would be interesting to see. So yeah, that's pretty cool. And my screen's a little bit in the way, but I'm just kind of like looking at this. So you got bar charts. Oh, whoa, they got a bunch. Heat maps. It's pretty cool. So as I did research on this, I've already begun writing the article. But what I was trying to figure out, what was the difference between Smartsuite and Airtable? And the most information that I could come up with is that Smartsuite has their target audience is people looking for an all-in-one solution versus the flexibility that Airtable provides as a customizable database. So let's go ahead and see what's going on. Let's start from scratch. That's what I like to do. Let's just make one up. So if I were to go start a new business right now, I would probably want to know, I don't know, and this goes along the lines of someone that Grant Cardone taught me, which is basically you need to, like we said, what gets measured gets managed. So we're gonna be, I don't know, coming up with some kind of thing that we want to manage. I've done things in the past, such as books and movies, um, seeing like what's the connection between different actors and movies and stuff like that. I got that from another lady on a podcast interview who, when I first was introduced to Airtable, she was saying that she got into, like as a hobby, she got into seeing like what actors were in which movies, and it was like interesting to her to see that some of them played in certain roles in certain movies. And I built one myself to see what the heck, and I thought it was a lot of fun. So I can't think of anything. I wish I was a little more prepared, but um, let's see here. I have a task management database. Let's just let's just play around. So I'm kind of looking at like how this is laid out first. Again, I've never seen it. I don't know what these app things are, but you can import data from CSV contacts. That's cool. Duplicate. And then you can name it and tell it what it's called. But ideally, this is where you're going to start. You have different views. We already know like there's Kanban and stuff. Sorry, I got my cat here running around. Oops, sorry. But so you can share the view. This is important when you want to sync these things between each other, these databases. And the reason why you'd want to sync them between each other is because you don't. One of the mistakes that I made early on, or learning lessons, was when you are, what am I trying to say? You don't want everything in one database. That's what a database is for. You want to break things up. And this is my understanding, is that, so when I first started, this is just an example, or this is a real world example, but I used to have like in this database, I used to have my contacts, I used to have my inventory, all the books I've read, I used to have everything in this one sheet. And that it messed me up because um, I wasn't able to like separate it out. And I'm not doing it justice here, explaining why you want to keep things separate. I'm not the best at explaining it, but what I can tell you is I now understand why you want to break it up. And initially, I was being sold the idea that you want to keep it together so that you're not redundant with information, like doing things more than once. But now I understand that like you can sync the databases. That's why you want to keep it separate. So you have like this thin content versus like a very, what am I trying to say? A thin way of having a bunch of different bases or tables versus having one large table. So what I've learned is to kind of break things up. Like ideally, people are people. You want to have like a contacts one, so you can like sync things, and then you have like a simple way of putting it. You have your inventory on a different base, and then you have your like your transactions on another one, your sales. So like that's the idea, is you want to kind of keep it thin enough to like manage it, but you also want to like, I guess, just make sure you can integrate them. And so that's what this does. You can share the view, and you're able to show like what you want to share. So I don't work on a team necessarily, but if you're on a team, you want to go into these settings and you really want to make certain that you're only giving permission to certain people. That's really important. I've seen it before in a real world job where you don't want to give certain people access even though they ask for it. You just want to be smart about that. So whatever, we're sharing that. But let's see here. So you have fields to display. These are the available fields, and this is like probably what's already in front of us, the due date. And I've always enjoyed using the priority one. Doesn't look like that one's selected, but who knows how many. I guess select all. Oh, and then it moves it over. You guys want to see the cat? George. He keeps whining. And he'll probably kick me off later. But so I guess here you can see where we moved all the available fields over into the selected fields. All right, you've had enough. And so that's what's available now. So I don't know what this spotlight thing is. Define a spotlight. Oh, so they're giving you the ability to color code things, I believe. When you do that, yeah, you're giving something a color. So like if you have a due date that's within 2 days or whatever you decide to make it, it'll make it a certain color. Again, I have experience doing this, so I'm sure it's a lot for people who are new to understand. But you can make these extra large auto size. That's really neat. Finding things, that's always helpful. Grouping, what that does is one of the main reasons why you would want to group something. It's just I don't know how to explain it other than grouping makes things easier to read. But what I find issues with grouping is not the functionality in of itself. It's like keeping things locked in a way that like you can't change it later on. Because one of the problems I find myself doing a lot is I'll create a view, a grid view, a certain like template, so to speak, of what I like, and then I'll end up not being able to keep that or maintain that view, and I will want to group things, but really ideally what you should be doing is locking things down so where you can't fix them, and maybe that's permission based, but more about that later. It's important to keep things as is, and that's how you do something called a process. Like as you create a process, things move along a chain, um, along an assembly line. Everything is like that, and that is what I mean by grouping can have its pros. Like it's definitely an awesome thing. And when you finally set your filter and you have it sorted a certain way, usually what I do is I go in and I group something together. And trying to think of an example, because of course my memory is not the best. But when you let's see here, so like say all the colors are black, or you have a color selection of all the colors on the color wheel. Well, you went ahead and you filtered. You only want quantities of that are in stock, and you sorted it by highest price. So you've already used those two fields. Um, okay, and that's kind of that. But so then what you'd want to do then is you'd want to go in and group it, um, and you would group it by color in that particular example. And what it'll do is it'll create like a bunch of blocks, and then you can do whatever you want within those blocks as far as like sorting it by price or filtering it to not in stock, but it'll maintain its group. So it kind of, like I said, it makes it easier. But what I always have trouble with is I create a lot of views that are like in here. I'll create a lot of different grid views, and then I'll call them something, and then I'll forget what they are or how important it is to maintain that view, that like not changing anything. Because once you start getting really big with these databases, like tens of thousands of rows, that's when you will want to not touch things as much. You want to make sure that you are having a process, and when you have the ability to go in and change things at any minute, which is fine, like you want to have it sorted. And what I'm saying is you'll go in here a lot and you'll change. And I find myself second guessing. Like I go into it like, oh, what's going on here? And I'm trying to figure out like what filter mode I'm in. But if you set a database up the right way as like a process or an assembly line, you're doing it the right way. But when you have to go in and like see what's going on, I just wish there was a way to lock things and give it a title. So that's kind of that. we could talk about this all day. I love doing this, but let's try to keep it around 30 minutes. So filtering, reason we're turning this stuff off is because we don't have anything yet at all in our database. I call them bases. I think that's a cool way of looking at it. Auto sizing, fields display. So like I said, or like we did earlier, we have everything. So we're looking at, this is what you get. You can add a new record this way, or you can add a new record this way. I'm going to do it this way. So I don't even know what this database is going to be called. I'm trying to think of a real world problem that I'm going through right now. All right, I'm trying to eat more. How about that? So this record is going to be called chips. This is whatever you want it to be. Blah, blah. And then assign to, it's just me. I don't really assign it to anybody. The status, so you should always be able to edit the status. And I see these 3 little dots right here that will allow you to change that. So that's pretty cool. So I'm not sure how you change that, but I bet if we click on one of these things, we can. So this is still a blank sheet, but you're going in and you're changing it. So when I think, so it's like, what do you think of when you think of statuses? Well, I wouldn't really call it a status. I wonder if you can change it here. Probably not. Well, the thing is, it's not really a status. It's whatever you want it to be. So like, you can call it healthy, and you see where we're going with this. Bad. And then I'll just get rid of that one. And then requires an entry. That's pretty neat. So status can be renamed. It should be able to be renamed. And the reason I know that is because it's just a field. And I'm still learning this as well. I know it's not that important. Wonder why it said it was locked. Not be able to change because it currently linked to the following fields. I like that. I don't know why I like that, but I like that. It says it's an all-in-one solution. I don't even know what that means, but it sounds cool. So priority, again, you should be able to modify any of these things or create a new one. Once we get further into it, we'll be able to figure it out. So these are fields, right? Like, so you can create a multiple select. You can change the kind of thing it is. Due dates, add a new field. So when it comes to dates, links are always good. So linked records is where the power comes in, and this is when you want to have like different bases, right? And you want to be able to link them. So it's not to be confused with like these tabs. Let's get out of this. So up here, George, Get down. So he needs attention a lot. So these up here are your tabs in Excel. This whole thing is a base, right? And you can link these right here, these things right here, like fields. You can link them to other ones, like other apps within this particular base, but you can also roll up other ones outside of this whole entire base. And that's what makes this whole thing interesting. That's why if there's one skill that you want to have, it's knowing how you want to move records. Because from my understanding, what's going on here with Smartsuite is you're taking oh gosh, sorry, I lost my train of thought. It sounds like it's fixed. Like, so with Smartsuite, it sounds like things are really fixed in the sense that, like, not that you can't move it, it seamlessly works better as it moves between different bases. Not to be confused again with like tabs in the bases, but like between different bases. So I oftentimes roll up from other synced bases, like we talked about earlier. And so let's identify the important things here in a linked record. I like that they call it linked record because it's what it is. Add a link to a record in another app. So they're calling apps almost, I don't know, it kind of gets confusing with apps, but I see what they're talking about. I forgot what they called that in Airtable. And forgive me, Smartsuite, for comparing you to Airtable. It's just what I know. I know the branding is probably trying to get away from that. Nonetheless, we love all of you guys, man, like for building these things. Like that's just, it's you, you have no idea. Like, I don't even think a lot of people understand the importance of having a database to grow. It's like an ecosystem where once you get in the habit of taking the time to input information, and you can constantly keep focusing and watching that database grow and evolve as you hide things and unhide things, and you're sifting through stuff and whatnot, and time goes by and you realize there's a quantity or dollar amount attached to things. You start really seeing the power of databases and looking things up, and relationships improving and stuff like that. And so let's kind of keep going a little bit. Well, yeah, see, they're making it look cool. I like that. I don't know why I like this one. So so this is when you're looking here, they're calling apps. George, they're calling different apps, different like tabs in Excel type of thing. And so that is that, but yeah, they're gonna call it. So in this particular case, you'd say app one is the customer, and the other one is like the product. Oops. Oops. So we'll go back. And also another thing too is you should be able to just type link record from another app. Oh, the other cat wants in. Require an entry. So there's no records in that one, in that other app. And it's not that I don't know what I'm doing, it's just we would have to go in and do something. So test, priority level, urgent, due date. I guess it would help if we just kind of filled this out a little bit. And then these are important too. This is probably locked because, yeah, I like that. It's because it's automated. So there's that. So if we were to go into app 2, and then we open up like a new record, test 2, and this is whatever. We're going to go in and try to link whatever is in this one to app 1, right? Because I keep trying to point with my hand, but here app 2, we're pointing to app 1, and this is how this works. And allowing linking to multiple records, I choose that often, like almost every time. It's a relationship database, so it's either one-to-one, one-to-many, or I can't remember, one-to-all or something. Advanced settings. This is the one that we filled out? I'm not sure. But anyway, we're going to add the field. A lot of times it's just seeing how to do it, and that's what I do. I spend a lot of time doing this stuff. Let's save it. So right now, this is linked or not linked? Did we do anything? Or did we? Look at that, it's already updating itself. I want to do so as long as there's records here. Let's do this. You can work backwards. It's not going to hurt anything. Like they're interchangeable, and that's what I'm saying. Like once you learn how to move things around, or if you can see things like as databases are, it really teaches your mind how to structure things. I really think we're computers and we don't even know it. So, all right, so you can see, I keep trying to point, but here's the link record. Okay. It should be like add field. Okay, so that's all we're doing is we're adding the field. Great. So link to app 1. I love how they said that. Or no, I don't. Wait. Link to app 1. So you can't see it here. Let's look at this. Is this the one? Due date. Create new record. Link record. That's interesting. I wonder how that works. But anyway, what we're trying to see is like, does app 2 link with app 1? So we kind of just go from there. I'm not too interested in trying to figure that out right now, but the idea is that when you have one-to-many relationships, that's when you want to break your bases up. That's really cool. But you could probably put many in there. So far I'm not seeing anything too crazy. Starred my work. That's interesting. My work shows you all the tasks at a glance. Ooh. What you've been assigned to. Overdue. I guess that's actually pretty interesting. Enter task name. Hi. No due date. That's cool. Printing, export. I do like how it's set up. It's pretty cool. Pretty nifty. And by the way, I downloaded the app. And so the app here looks like this. I don't know if you could see me. But the app, that I went ahead and downloaded it, and you can, it's the same thing. I mean, you can see, but it's good, highly rated or good, decent enough, and it looks like they worked really hard on the app to make it look good too. And that's what you want. You want to have the app. You want to be able to see your database while on the go. That's a big thing. So I think I'm like probably approaching. I can't see my timer on the screen share. But I would say that we are about to wrap this thing up. And we'll be doing more videos like on Smartsuite. Who knows, maybe as a project, we'll build something together and we'll make money together.